Is 1 plus 1 equals 2? Why is 1 plus 1 equals 2? To me, the answer is rather very simple, as obvious as it is, and there is no sort of this stupid little gimmick like proof by contradiction or some logical, symbolical manipulation, semantical. Yeah, it has to do with semantics on a partial level, but to me it's as like the back of my hand, like it's as obvious as the back of my hand what the answer is. So what is it, Zishan? Insert suspense pause, insert awkward pregnant pause. Well, the answer is it's meaningless. Basically, what do you even mean? It's like asking, does God exist? It's a meaningless question. Or like, is there a square round peg? Or like like a square round hole or shape? It's meaningless because let's analyze when we ask why is 1 plus 1 equals 2, or rather 1 plus 1 equals 2. What do we even mean by that? It's like I could just easily print some graffiti on the wall with a meaningless scroll, and I could tell you to analyze that. But then you'll say, but that denotes something. Well, or that does it? It does. Mathematics denotes anything. If you do agree with that, then I could just easily, if you say no, it's just it's that symbol has meaning, and that's another thing. I find it absolutely astounding, puzzling. All these so-called math nerds and geeks, this, oh well, it's commonly accepted by mathematicians, generally accepted by. Are you fucking shitting me? Isn't that the whole purpose of science and logic and math, is to challenge consensus and the accepted norms? You fucking brick, mook, not even meathead. That's irony. It's like you're not a meathead, you're a fucking meathead, you idiot. Generally accepted by. What the fuck? What is that supposed to mean? So if slavery was generally accepted by, as does it make it right? Does it make it the truth? You idiot. Okay, now I'm done with that homonym. So 1 plus 1 equals 2. Yeah, it's like, what do you mean by 1? What do you mean by plus? What do you mean by equal? What do you mean by 2? This is just meaningless abstract symbols. Some people, even ZFC, Zermelo Frankl, and here's my rant. Zermelo Frankl said set theory, or any theory you can think of, these are all pulled out of someone's ass. There is like no law of identity in the universe. It's a mere interpretation. There is no law of idempotence in the universe. There's no law of symmetry in the universe. Someone just like fucking blowing shit or blowing smoke and pulling shit out of their ass and just smearing it on the paper. It's like it's basically ink on paper. That's what it is. Why should see, for a profession as mathematics and logics, these people do an awful lot of assumptions, an awful lot of assuming, awful lot of axiomatizing. I mean, I can make anything my axiom, like 1 equals 0. That's the first axiom, right? Everything is nothing. Then you'll say, but what do with 1 we mean? And if you're like completely, if someone you have never smoked pot, or if you're like very rigid square type, like you're like Ben Shapiro, you might. So we have to start with small. We have to start with, okay, define 1. What do you mean by 1? It's like one object. Well, does an apple plus an apple equal 2 apples? But that apple could be different than that apple topographically. Again, in the color, texture, it's not an exact apple. Forget about isomorphism. Like, or so, is x plus y equals z, or is it x plus y equals 2? So it's like no things are alike. Then you say, oh, but these things are similar. But then suddenly we dive into a very murky area. Then when the moment we introduce the term similarity, it's like, yeah, but they're not the same though. It's apples and oranges. We can have identical twins and they're still different. So what do we mean by 1 plus 1 equals 2? Does unity plus unity equals unity or duality, or just unity? Nothing. And my favorite one is the droplet. A droplet of water plus a droplet of water makes another droplet of water. This 1 plus 1 equals 1. But you are saying, but these stand for something. Mathematics and set theory, these are abstract. Well, what's set theory? Basically, set theory is mathematics. The logic is basically it's recursive. is fucking set theory, man. You have Kleene recursion theorem, right? Kleene-Rosser, and everything is not relative. It's like and there's another thing. These people, these students in colleges and universities will say, oh. Oh, according to analytic number theory, this is this, and yeah, that's precisely it. So it's like you can't even make a statement, like a general statement, with a fear of getting like with your pants down. I mean, people say, oh, that's a field of psychology, or that's a field of like continental philosophy. I don't deal with that. I'm an analytical philosophy guy. I'll rather refer you to the continental philosophy. Oh, fuck's sake. So it's like truth is relative, but truth is also true. So when we say 1 plus 1 equals 2, it can mean anything basically. Also, there's cultural aspect to it. You go to some, I don't know what they call it, piranhas or something. No, yeah, they have a different concept of numbers. And also there's something called Banach-Tarski paradox, but that has to do with set theory. So they'll say, oh, but that's not a proof that 1 plus 1 equals 2, but it's set theory. So that's another point, and this precisely hammers in my point. Yeah, it's like it's different according to different interpretation, different systems, different relations. So it's all very relative. So you can't just say with a Moses grandstand, oh, this is here is written in stone tablet. That why else do you think Barton Russell and Alfred North Whitehead took fucking, I don't know, 300 pages just to prove it, and quote unquote prove it? And this is another thing. What do you mean by your proof? What's the proof? Does it hurt when you punch someone? Well, the proof is you punch someone, and the person will that's experiential proof. You can't never abstract it. So what is proof? Proof can be anything. If a magician performs something, like if a magician vanishes a tree, that doesn't mean it's a proof that the tree is vanished. It's like it could have been an illusion. Truth is an illusion for all the systems that we have right now, current mathematical system, whether it be lambda calculus or any other naive set theory, or like even anything, any pedantic, well, not even pedantic, any symbol you scroll down on a piece of paper or you type in a computer, that it's like you could start with anything. It's like raping. You could start with anything pretty much. Why would you start with like that? And generally it starts with very like empty set, null set, and then you do recursion on it, and then you expand the set, and then you get your concepts of number, right? Or am I wrong? What is the definition of a number? See, imagine Ramayana. I don't know how many words does it have. Probably millions. Or Oxford. Oh yeah, let's take Ramayana. That itself can be summed up in weird symbol. I just scroll right now in 2 seconds. I can say, oh, that symbol represents whole Ramayana. So see, symbol can mean anything. Of course, that's a very complex way to encode a thing. It's almost like every time you press that symbol, someone spits a Ramayana on a stage in a theater. Or they could just say that symbol, call it Om, or whatever, any weird symbol, delta, or just make up your own symbols. Mathematics, logic, these are man-made. And the thing is, the rock stars of their times, Cantor, Dedekind, Frege, Kronecker, Hardy, Littlewood, all these people, they just rose to the top of the field because either they had strong published papers, which were again another illusion, Legerdemain, sleight of hand, and they just were popularizer of mathematics, like almost. I'm not critiquing them. It's not an attack on the character. It's almost like, see, Buddhist people has a different. If Buddhist people had a chain of reasoning, and it's just like Spinoza's axioms. You could lay it down axiomatically. They would have a different structure, different axiomatic framework, logical uh, structure, theory. Then Buddhists will have the mathematicians. So it's almost like one can easily start with anything. But then it's precisely so mathematics is mathematics in sui generis, uh, and logic is logic. You cannot apply. It's almost so you're basically playing chess or checkers or symbolic, yeah, symbolic chess, checkers or solitaire, whatever. So it's just a symbolic. It's a chess game. It's nothing more than that. But the way people, but then the problem arises when people say, "About according to logic, this happens." I believe this because logically speaking, scientifically speaking, mathematically speaking, they said that, but there is this entire thought work and framework of consciousness that goes behind it that they're not even aware of. See, any word can mean anything. Like in Islam, if you study Quran, like Alif Lam Mim, apparently it has no meaning, but it can probably have profound meaning. The meaning of the secret of the universe. Or reminds me Alan Watts' story of the lady on Anastasia. Life is like born diamond. Was it life or reality? Something like that. So almost like you can encapsulate everything to one dictum and make that the starting point, the logical basis of the first axiom or whatever. But there is none. There is none. I can just say shitting is the meaning of life. Fucking, you shit whatever you want to shit, either abstract in mathematics, either metaphorically or physically. I mean, it's basically people are fucking. We are apes. We are just fucking making shit up as we go along. That's what we are doing, and we're pretending. Unless someone steps aside of the system, whether it was psychedelics, which I never did, except salvia, but that is a psychedelic. But that was a long time ago. It's mostly because of studying for so long. Somehow I subconsciously I've integrated it, and but enough of me. That was your narcissism. Ad break of the day brought you by fucking Gillette. And now Gillette will be suing me. Hey, remove that from your video. Remove that line. That's company maligning. Is it though? Isn't that your interpretation that I'm making fun of Gillette just because I laughed? I can laugh and still not make fun of someone. I'm just kidding. So again, going back, it's like, why is one tree plus one tree? They're similar, but they're not same. They could be connected under the root, or even if they're not connected, it's like a toy Lego. It's like two different plastic trees they can have. There is no ideal tree out there, Platonic view aside, Platonism aside. So it's like two toy trees can have probably manufacturer's defects. So suppose a little prickly plastic sticking out, some little mold or something which wasn't casted right. So there are no. This is merely an illusion. We think there's an isomorphism or something like that, or like bijection. But then you'll say, see, most people approaches mathematics as if these law of inverse, law of bijection, these are already like they have that. Even implicitly, they already start with those kind of notions as if that's what we should be proving. Why? That's a dumb theory. As a theory, it's almost like theories mimic each other. That's why they're so self-similar. It's almost like, or why we should even start with axiom? The fuck Euclid. Fuck Euclid. Why should there be a singular, or maybe there isn't anymore? I mean, a formal system doesn't work like that. But should a formal? Who decides what logic and formal system gets to be? Who decides these? And of course, as you saw my rant, don't even give me the shit about bullshit about it's consensus, because that's the most cringeworthy response ever. Because that's what aren't we just battling all this all along? We have lost. See, the spirit of science, logic, mathematics, it was great. It was honorable because before it was the ultimate skepticism. And I'm talking about Pyrrhonic skepticism, where you're skeptical of your own skepticism. But people became weak and pussy at the process, and they fucking started forgetting. They don't challenge anything anymore. If you are to challenge go to any mathematical library in the university. They're probably like millions of papers, literally millions of papers, or probably not, I don't know, my math is not that good, uh, we filled with abstract bullshit, like fucking, which has no real life consequence implication whatsoever, right? Real analysis, non-standard analysis, fucking Hodge conjecture, de Rham cohomology, algebraic geometry, fucking all this bullshit. Or probably some do, Navier-Stokes equation might have. But it's not like, what can you do? Like if you're making artificial intelligence like a mainframe, the more robust, approximate, and smooth, efficient the program formal logic is. So yeah, in terms of, I'll give you that. In terms of artificial intelligence, it could be, it's sexy, because then you're making, you're literally sculpting a reality where it has a hit, the artificial AI, by knowing, integrating all these so-called philosophies of formal logic and formal theorem. It's almost like this big Google AI, or like IBM Watson, or like Sophia basically. How I would like see people like the dumbest questions of Sophia. I would ask Sophia like, yeah, philosophical mathematical question, but not like something vague. It's like, what do you think of? Like to see how much can she parrot back, or how much is her original thought. Like, I don't know if anyone asked Sophia what is 1 plus 1. That'd be an interesting question to ask. Or what is the meaning of, like, what is the ultimate meaning of life? Would she ever say love, or 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 if she never said that, like God is love, like, but would that be something she's because of the programmer, or something she came to her own conclusion? That would be an interesting experiment to try out. But yeah, it's like one finger plus one finger. Well, where do you cut the cut the fingers, literally, like where do you draw the line? Because ultimately everything is connected to each other, like to everything. Like you might say, what about you walking on a ground? You're not connected to theirs, but why not? You'd say because there's space, the concept of space. But isn't there air? The air is connecting, their molecules are connecting. So there's, what do you mean by space? Then we have to ask. What does Leibniz think of monads? What is that? How does that fit in? Or like Spinoza's substance, concept of substance. See, imagine you're mute in knowledge and language, and you want to say your first spoken word, which is basically you have to think your first thought, your first conscious thought. Your consciousness erupts, evolves, exists. Consciousness sort of wants to spell things out. It's the first word of consciousness, basically. What would it be? It can be anything. It could be mu, it could be hi, it could be yak, it could be dada, it could be mama, it could be violence, it could be terrorism. But those are all concepts, right? Or like words, or their interpretations. Or it could be an experience. It's like, if you assume reality to be nothingness, blank slate, sort of, and why should we start as something? But then you say, about mathematics and logic, that's what not it says. It says, if this is true, then this is true. But why? I mean, I can say, if 1 plus 1 equals 2, then 2 plus 2 equals 4. Or I can also say, if 1 plus 1 equals 2, then 2 plus 2 equals 5. But then you say, why? Then it's a contradiction, right? Then you say, I'm contradicting myself. So you say, that's not logical. Fine, fair enough. No, then again, I'll beg the question, what do you mean by that's not logical? Or how do you know different, there are infinite systems exist, where in one system, if 1 plus 1 equals 2, then 2 plus 2 equals 5. And you say, how? Maybe because by the act of addition, you add a invisible weight, and that weight adds up to 1. So that's why, 2 plus 2 equals 4, but you add that weight, is 5. See, you can justify anything pretty much. You can come up with your own shit, which is basically BS, nonsense, like a Zen blabber of incoherence. Thank you for listening. I'll end on that note. Enough rambling for the day.